Hello, my name is OboOz22, and today I'm going to be doing a post commentary of my Splatoon 2 NG Plus speedrun in 10604. This is before I start watching the run and doing some commentary over what's going on. I do want to explain that this is not my PB, but I think it's the best way to kind of show off NG Plus, because there is quite a bit of this is an RNG, or it has some RNG parts in it, and this is a run where I got the worst RNG but have the best execution in the non-RNG parts. So I think this is the best run that I have for a GDQ submission. So I thought I would do a post commentary on this run. So I just want to make that clear. But my PB is a 105.47, and this is a 106.04. But another way that we calculate NG Plus runs is in-game times, because each level has an in-game timer. And so what we do is we have a category called Octavio lists. IGT, that stands for in-game time, and this is my best Octavio list in-game time with 44 minutes and 8 seconds. So this is my best Octavio list run. DJ Octavio is the final boss in hero mode in Splatoon 2, and he's an RNG based boss. So we have a category to take him out of the equation so we can focus on just the skill parts of this run. The NG Plus, just the regular category itself, includes the RNG Octavio boss fight, and RTA wise, this run is a 106.04. So hopefully I hope that this all makes sense what I'm saying. But I think without further ado, I'm going to start the run. And just a quick little, before I begin, just a quick little rundown of what NG Plus is like. So we start from a completed save file. All weapons are upgraded, all levels have been unlocked, so you can super jump to every single level. You don't have to, there's no overworld routing or movement or anything. It's just menuing and super jumping to every level. So it's basically all about the execution in the levels. And you have to complete every single level and every single boss. And this is a really fast-paced, intense category. It's super competitive. It's a lot of fun. And I think it would be great for GDQ. Because it's really something different than the usual any percent categories. So I think it would be a great addition. But anyway, without further ado, I'm gonna start the run. So time starts when you enter Octo Canyon. And a lot of the level routing is based on one world at a time, and it's by weapons. So I start out with the dualies and go into level 3. I've only used 3 weapons in the entire run, which is the hero dualies, the hero shot, and the hero charger. And so you do have to go to a menu to select a different weapon. But basically the routing is based on by that menuing to switch different weapons. So we use like any levels in the immediate world that are required or that we use with the shot. I missed a jump there, but it's okay. It happens. I still keep going. This is also a cycle-based level, so I'm trying to make the best cycle I can. But anyway, the routing is based on weapons. So after I use dualies in this level, I'm going to use the shot 2 times in level 2 and level 1. and each world is separated by a loading screen. That's why we do all the levels in the immediate world and then all the levels in the next world. We don't jump around to every world because that would obviously lose time. So now I'm going to go into level 2. I just switched to the hero shot. I'm going to be using that for as long as I can, which is just 2 levels. You can see on my splits as well. Also, my splits are to the right, by the way. But as you can see, I've labeled in my splits which weapons I'm using at what times during the run. You can see, for example, next to level 2 I have shot, and then I use that in level 1 as well, and then in Octo Oven, which is the first boss, I switch to the charger. So that's what the overall route is based on, if that makes sense. So this is level 2. It revolves around a lot of these sponges. I use the hero shot because the hero shot, some of you might think that the hero shot and the dualies are pretty similar, and in a lot of ways they are, but how we use the hero shot is it has a bit longer range than the dualies have, and its fire rate is a little faster. So if there's some levels that require that extra fire rate, then we use the hero shot. And the dualies have the ability to dodge roll, which we take advantage of a lot in many levels in the run. So you'll see those later. But in some of the levels, like for example this one and the next level, we don't really need the dodge roll ability very much because it's just based on execution with a regular hero shot. That's why we just use the hero shot. 139, pretty good level. Gonna be heading it into level 1 now. A lot of these first levels don't have many skips or many like big skips in the that are pretty notable. It's just a lot of execution and just very movement based. We try to cut as many corners as possible, but overall there's not many big skips in the game. There's one like right here where I jump. That's kind of weird to see a lot in the run, just us trying to cut as many corners in the level as possible. But the run is not based on many glitches or many what's the word, we don't break the game. We just basically play the game with really good execution. That's what a lot of Splatoon 2 speedrunning is about. There's not too many skips. It's just a lot of really good execution and good movement. You're going to see me use curling, try to take advantage of a lot of bombs quite a few times. I use, as you can see back there, I used a splat bomb to distract that shielded enemy so it could turn so I could shoot it. And also, you're going to see me use these bombs called curling bombs a lot, because what they do is they create a trail of ink in front of me, and they're probably the best form of movement, so you're going to see me use them a lot during the run. And they also explode the cage holding the final Zatfish. Good level. So next I'm going to be switching to the charger, going into boss 1. So usually what you have to do in this boss is you have to basically climb on top of it and shoot the tentacle, but we can actually shoot it from the bottom, shoot it from the ground with the charger because of its long range. So doing that is way faster than climbing on top of it. See right here, we just shoot the tentacle on top of it, and then we just rinse and repeat. Um, that's obviously the fastest method of completing this boss, and there's not much going on, so I'd probably um, just open this time to some donations or something. It's a boss that speaks for itself. I apologize for the frame rate. I don't have the best frame rate. It's not that great at times. $112, a pretty average time for my standards. I think my best is a 111. That's a pretty optimized boss, so it doesn't vary a lot. The world record is a 110, the IL world record. So I'm going to be heading into World 2 now. I'm going to be doing level 6 first because this is actually the level where we first get the charger. So this level heavily revolves around the charger's abilities of shooting these grappling hooks. With the level 2 charger, it's a lot faster and its fire rate is a bit stronger. So you're going to see that this level goes way faster. It's not too much different. I accidentally missed that propeller there. It's not too different from any percent, but you're gonna notice that it goes a lot faster since the fire rate is a lot faster. But this level probably has the biggest skips in the game. One of them is right here. I jump on the railing. It's a bit of a risky jump because you're standing on the railing, so there's a chance you could fall off. But it skips a platform. And then I just got a stingray because you can actually shoot grappling hooks with the stingray. So what I'm going to be doing is right here, I'm going to use the stingray to guide this platform closer to me, shooting that grappling hook, and then getting to the platform with the final Zapfish. And that skips in the last third of the level. So that's probably the biggest skip in the game right there. Lost a bit of time in that level because of a mistake I made, but no worries. So I'm going to be switching to the dualies now. Sometimes we don't have to super jump if a level is close by, like right there. All I had to do was just jump down to that level, and doing that is faster than menuing and super jumping because it's right there. So this is level 7, revolves around these squeegees. Again, I'm so sorry for the frame rate. I really wish it was a lot smoother. I really apologize for that. Anyway, this level revolves around these squeegees, which are probably one of the most annoying enemies in the game because their movement is a bit RNG. Or their behavior is a bit random, so they can be annoying on times. Sometimes they just don't do what you want them to do because you basically, a lot of times, the game requires you to ride them to the next section, and sometimes they just can go where you don't want them to go. But you can see me using the dodge roll mechanic a lot because one thing that's useful for is forcing you downwards in a vertical section to get to the ground faster. So you're going to see me use that a lot, and I'm going to take advantage of that pretty often in the run whenever we use the dualies and levels. And also on uninkable floors too, floors that we can't swim under, we use the dualies because that's a faster method than just walking in conform. Overall, that was a pretty good level. Next, could be heading into level 5. And you're going to see the dodge roll mechanic used a lot during this level. Because this level introduces the grind rails. And you travel the same speed whether you're in kid or squid form. So the only way to go faster is to jump and dodge roll. And so you're going to see me use that a lot. Cool little jump right here. Yeah, there's some cool little jumps that skip some of the level in this stage. But the cool thing about this level compared to any percent is I don't need to worry about collecting any orbs at all. So I'm just trying to go the fastest I can. And that's what's really cool about NG Plus is basically this is the fastest you can go in any of these levels. Our goal is to really just go through these levels as fast as possible. We don't need to worry about collecting orbs, we don't need to worry about upgrades, we're just completing the levels as fast as we can. We don't need to worry about Sheldon forcing us to use weapons. We can use whatever weapon we want in any level. And of course, that doesn't, of course we only use like 3 weapons in the entire run. But it really shows, some different, it shows a lot of different strats in the run too. There's a lot of different, there's a lot of different strats in some of these levels compared to any percent, and that's what's really cool about it. 138, very nice time. Gonna be heading into level 4 now. In this level, there is these items called Reloniums, and there is a trick that we can do called Relonium Boost. Basically, where we kind of boost off the Relonium by dodge rolling into them and kind of riding them. But it's a very precise trick and very hard to do. I personally don't go for them in my runs. But they do exist. Some people do go for them, but I'm not very consistent at them, so I don't go for them. But this level is overall pretty self-explanatory. Not much going on here. I think this an NG Plus run really shows the full potential of Splatoon 2 speedrunning. And I think that's why a lot of people love it. Because it's a really intense speedrun. And it really shows off like how crazy Splatoon 2 speedrunning can be. Good level. So this level is level 9, an Octoling level. So we play on a multiplayer map. This one is known as the Reef, and we basically have to collect 8 mini Zapfish that are scattered around the map. And so this level is very movement based. We try to go on the best route to get all the mini Zapfish. So this level is very movement based. I mean, a lot of the levels are, but this one is very... These kind of levels are very unique because we basically stay in a very small, confined space and just go around the map collecting these mini Zapfish. But you can see 36, that was very quick. Gonna be heading into level 8 now. This level involves these things called Roloniums. Oh, I'm sorry, not Rolonium. Octofurlers. That's what they're called. And they extend when you shoot them, and they retract when enemies shoot them. Overall, not too much going on in this level. Nothing very notable worth mentioning. Once you know how the octofurlers work, this level is pretty. It speaks for itself. This is a pretty tricky part. I basically squeeze through that wall of enemies, so that can be pretty dangerous. You can get your armor broken if you're not careful. This is also an annoying section. Trying to shoot as less shots with the cannon as possible to extend that last octofurler, to extend, make a pathway to the Zatfish. Next, we're going into the boss level of World 2. This is Octo Samurai, and if you remember in any percent, he was a bit of a tricky boss because we had to use the roller. But now we get to use the shot, and as you can see, he's an absolute cakewalk. Because we also, all we have to do is just shoot him, and then he's done. Yeah, I think he speaks for itself when how easy this boss is. It's really funny, to be honest. All of a sudden he appears, and then it's over. Good fight. Gonna be heading into World 3 now. There's a lot of different routes for NG+, because we can basically do the levels in pretty much any order that we want. We usually just it usually just depends on like what worlds we want to do first. A lot of times we do World 1 first because we first spawn in World 1, and so if we were to travel to any other world and go back to it later, it would lose time since each level is separated by a loading screen. But after World 1, we can pretty much go to any other world we want, and it wouldn't really waste time. So there's the usual route that we do in speedruns is we do World 1 first, then go to World 5, and do Octavio to try to get the RNG boss fight out of the way, and then we do the rest of the worlds. But for races and marathons, we just do all the worlds in order because we have to do Octavio sometime, so we might as well just save him for last because we have no choice. Like, might as well. It doesn't matter because you understand. This is level 10, by the way. It's a bit of a cycle-based level, mostly just because of this section. It's a sectional cycle of this Octo Seeger right here. Just made the cycle. It was just that Octo Seeker just going around in a circle. It's not a global cycle, like most people thought. No matter how slow or fast you are, he'll always be in the same place when you enter that section. Pretty good level. Next, going to be heading into level 14. This is arguably the hardest level in World 3. Because there's a lot of, there's some really hard execution in this level. It's one of the hardest ILs out there. First one I'm going to go for is a really hard skip called Car Wash Skip. It's something that I go for in Lemming ones. It's right here. It's basically where I squeeze through these in columns, and what I have to do is I have to like mash the A button to squeeze my way out of there, and it loses a lot of time if you mess it up. There, I missed that octoling. So that was a little mistake that I made. And also, I've been meaning to say, I don't talk at all during this run because I'm trying to focus. It is a very intense speed run, like I said. So it is hard to give some commentary. But I'm just doing this post-commentary just to prove that I can do at least some form of commentary. This section can be pretty difficult because it's very precise. We have to hit these switches to unlock the next parts of the stage. There I basically squeeze my way through those enemies. Here I throw a bomb, and I missed that bomb throw. So I wasn't able to kill those octolines in the fastest possible way. Yeah, so I did make some mistakes in this level. Not the best time, but it happens. And there, I almost accidentally went into level with the wrong weapon. But luckily, I was able to catch myself and select the right weapon. This is a pretty cool level. It revolves around these bounce pads, and I use the dualies here since they're the best for mobility. But a trick that I try to use a lot is to those guys kind of got in my way there. Is basically when I'm swimming and I go into the bounce pads, it carries my momentum. So that's a trick that I try to take advantage of a lot. So right as you can see here, I'm swimming and then I jump into the bounce pads and it carries my momentum. So another example is right here. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't be able to traverse that section in just 2 bounces. It would have taken more if I didn't use that trick. And here is where we really take advantage of the dualies. We basically dodge down this vertical section and it forces us all the way to ground. It's very fast. So that really shows the importance of the dualies right there, because that's probably the biggest vertical section in the game. Pretty good level. Next, we're going to be heading into level 15, which is another octoling level. This one is arguably the hardest because the octolines now have rollers, which can be like really dangerous if you're not careful, because they can instantly break your armor, and getting your armor broken is very, very dangerous, because when you get your armor broken, you become a lot slower, which is not very good for a speedrun. Enemies can see you and ink, and you're one shot away from dying. So getting your armor broken in a place where you don't want to can be very dangerous. Really good level. Golden. Very nice. Next, going to be switching to the charger for the next couple levels. This level is pretty cool. It involves these Tentacooks, which are carrying a key, and they run away from you. But we use the charger to try to snipe the Tentacooks before they even have the chance to run away. For example, right here, we snipe that Tentacook and get the key before it even has a chance to run away. So this level is pretty cool. Right here, we shoot this Tentacook. We have just about enough range to get it before it runs away. So that's what this level involves. Here I wait for the Tentacook to start running and then I snipe it. Here's probably the most important trick to get, because you lose the most time if you don't get the skip, or if you don't snipe this Tentacook, because then he just starts running away throughout this entire section and it wastes the most time. Or you lose the most time, you understand. Here's a skip that I like to go for. Basically, make a jump and skip that section. It's a pretty precise jump, it's not very easy. And that's the end of this level. $158, not bad. I always consider sub 2 minutes to be a win. I think my best time is like a 154. So next is level 13. This is arguably harder than level 11 because we're also using the sniper. A lot of levels that are using the charger or the sniper, you can call it whatever you like, is a very precise level since the charger is a very precise weapon. So a lot of them can be pretty difficult. So this level has these drum switches. When you shoot them with a charged shot with the charger, it fully extends these platforms out. It's a bit hard to explain, but I think if you watch it, you can kind of figure it out. Cool little corner cut there. Here I jump around this flutter, get the key, and make my way out. That's a cool little skip right there. I shoot that grappling hook, and on the way I actually touch the cage, so I unlock it. And then I immediately get into the super jump pad. Here's a cool little skip coming up right here, where I skip this last section by using a sniper, jumping, and shooting that last grappling hook to get to the Zatfish. 135, really good level. That was very well done. Next, going into Octostomp, which is the boss level in this world. Uh, this boss is a bit similar to Octo Oven, because we basically the usual strat is to climb on top of him and shoot the tentacle. But since we're using the charger, we could just snipe the tentacle off the top of him. This one's a little harder since Octo Stomp is a lot more mobile than Octo Oven is. And we basically had to snipe this buckle off of him so we can get to the tentacle in the first place. So another thing I forgot to mention is, since this is NG+, we can skip all the cutscenes too. So that's another reason why this is a very fast-paced, not a lot of breaks, because we can just skip all the cutscenes. Not bad fight. Not bad of a fight. I think my best time is a 58. But that boss can vary a little bit because sometimes Octo Stomp's behavior can vary a little bit. Next, I'm going to be going right into the boss of World 4, Octo Shower, which is the most technical boss in the game because we basically had to snipe. This is very similar to Octostomp in a way, because now we have to snipe all these octocopters out of the sky that are holding Octo Shower, and there's a lot more targets and a lot less time. Because once we snipe one of the octocopters, he starts running away. So I basically have to snipe all the rest of the octocopters before he has a chance to get away. And in the third phase it's really harder because now the octocopters have the ability to dodge. But that was a really good boss fight. That went very well, very clean. 42, probably my best time. I wonder if this is gonna be gold. It is. Very nice gold. Next, I'm going to be using dualies. Going to be going into 21, another Octoling level. This takes place on Moray Towers, which is, I'm sure, is everyone's favorite multiplayer map. I'm being facetious, by the way. I take advantage of the dualies since this is a very vertical-based stage. I use the dodge rolling mechanic to make my way down. You may notice that I'm using the dualies for all the Octoling levels since they're the best for mobility. And since these stages require a lot of good movement. .48, definitely my best time. Gonna be having it into level 16 now. This level has these items called bowling balls. I'm actually not entirely sure what to call them, but I just call them bowling balls because that's pretty much what they are. This level can be very dangerous because the hitbox of these bowling balls are a lot bigger than they appear. So it can be, and these pathways are very narrow too, so it's pretty easy to get knocked by the bowling balls and to fall off the level. So this level can be pretty dangerous if you're not careful. This is also another cycle-based level. The cycle is coming up just right here. It's this platform that's moving up and down. So I'm going to try to make the best cycle. It's right here. In NG Plus, it's pretty easy to make the best cycle since I'm going so fast. It's not much of a rush in the first part, since the cycle's pretty easy to make in NG Plus, and then the end is a bit more of a rush because it's just a matter of getting to the end as quickly as possible. 122, pretty good. Gonna be heading into level 17 now. This is a bit of a cycle-based level. It has a lot of spinning platforms, but it doesn't. We don't lose a lot of time if we don't make the right cycle. We just take a different path that we may or may not be prepared to take. But I think this level speaks for itself. That place I get my armor broken, but there's a stack of armor right there. The only places where we intentionally can break our armor is if there's an armor stack nearby or we're near a checkpoint. Because if our armor is broken, a checkpoint instantly restores our armor. Pretty good level. Going into level 18 now. This level has what's interesting about this level is it has two auto scrollers. If you remember from any percent. But one of those auto scrollers is still kind of an auto scroller, but it's less of an auto scroller now, if that makes sense. You'll see in a minute what I mean. But usually what we'd have to do in any percent is just sit on this rail that takes us up a tower. But since we have the dualies, we can just dodge roll our way up the level, so it kind of makes it a little less than an auto scroller. It's right here. In 90% we were using the charger, so we had like no choice but to just sit on this railing and wait. But now with the dualies, we can dodge our way up the tower. So it makes this section a little less of an auto-scroller. But the second auto-scroller is still an auto-scroller in G+, because there's not really much we can do about it. It's just a platform that we basically have to wait on while a bunch of enemies spawn. So no matter what weapon we use, it's still an auto-scroller no matter what. But other than that, not much going on in this level. This level gives it, in a pretty intense speed run, this kind of gives us a second to kind of chill for a little bit. We just get to sit on this platform and wait. Catch our breath a little bit. Here I decided to kill all the enemies since I don't really have anything better to do. So I can have enough time to jump off the platform the earliest I can. 2:20, really good time. But you can see what I mean about the in-game timers, because each level gives us a direct time when we finish the level. So what we do in Octavia's in-game time is we combined all the in-game times of every level together, and that's what we maced that category around. This is level 20. This is a bit of a tricky level since we're using the hero shot. But we don't really need the dualies because there's not many vertical section in this level, and we need the fire rate of the hero shot. It's mostly because of a trick that we do at the end. We'll get there in a second. But basically, we have two paths to take. We have two paths to take. One of them has flutters, which can be annoying enemies. And this section right here has invisible platforms, which can be very stress-inducing. This is also a cycle-based level. Basically, it has these ink columns that reveal a propeller switch right here. Throw a bomb, and then right here we ink a propeller switch that moves the Zatfish down. The reason why we use the shot on this level is because of that jump, because the dualies don't have enough range to reach that propeller switch that moves the Zatfish platform down. Maybe heading into level 19, which is my personal least favorite level in the game, because this level can be really annoying. There's 3 different pathways to take, apart from the 2 different pathways in the last level. Each of them have their own tricks. I will say this is a pretty cool level. There's a lot going on. But the ending especially is very annoying, because it has a bunch of squeegees, and using the hero shot, they almost seem to never go exactly where you want them to. There I laid down a splat bomb to ink a switch. That way I don't have to turn around and ink it myself with my hero shot. Yeah, it's hard to explain exactly everything that's going on in this level, because there's a lot going on and it all happens so fast. But it is a pretty cool level. I would say this is probably my most practiced level, because there is a lot that can go wrong. Just up ahead, there is a cycle skip that I'm going to try to go for. What I do is I switch to an auto bomb. This is one of the very few times where I actually use auto bombs in this run. What I'm going to do is, once I defeat these 3 enemies, it's going to reveal a switch. I place down an auto bomb, and it starts turning that cube right there, and reveals a switch. If I didn't use the auto bomb and try to ink it myself, then it would have spun all the way around and I would have missed it, and then I would have to wait. And the reason why I paused right there was because the bomb didn't fully ink, the Switch, but there's a glitch that we can do called pause glitch. Basically, if a Switch isn't fully inked, but is also somewhat inked, we can pause, and it actually tricks the game into thinking that the Switch has already been inked. And so that's why I paused a couple times. Here's the squeegee section. This can be a bit annoying because they don't always go where you want you to. I got pretty lucky here, though. So I was able to make it to the end okay. But pause glitch is probably one of the only times when we actually quote-unquote break the game. I'm going to be headed into the final world now. Level 26. This is another level that has the bowling balls. This is kind of a mixture of level 16 and level 17 because it has a lot of spinning platforms and has these bowling balls that are now kind of stacked up on each other. So this, again, can be a dangerous level if you're not careful. Yeah, I think this is a pretty self-explanatory level. Here I use an Inkstorm special to automatically hit those jump switches to my left to automatically extend these platforms for me. Saves a bit of time. 126, not a bad level. Maybe head into level 22 now, which is another pretty hard level. There's a lot that can go wrong in this level. It just throws so much at you. It has these octopods, which are basically we just blow up in your face. So you have to try to shoot them before they explode. Has invisible platforms right here. More octopods. Here I dodge down to skip this corner here. A tentacook, which I have to chase down. More invisible platforms. Here's a section where I have to defeat all the enemies with an enemy who's shielded and can dodge to the side. And he's mobile too. Gatling gun, Octa commanders who basically have Gatling guns. More invisible platforms and squeegees that don't always do what you want them to do. But above all that, that was a pretty good level, 150, and that's actually a really good time. Golded that level. Very well done. Next is 23. This is a bit similar to level 5 back in World 2. It has a lot of grind rails. Gonna be dodge rolling a lot. But this is a pretty self-explanatory level. It's a fun level. It's probably one of my favorites because it's kind of a reference to one of my favorite games, Super Mario Galaxy. It's called the Octo Galaxy. Damn it, did a damage boost right there. Very nice level. Next, we're going to be going into level 27, which is the last Octoling level I'm going to be tackling. This one is pretty difficult. A lot can go wrong. I don't know if I'm gonna be. I don't remember if I go for it. But there's some armor stacks that a lot of times I try to go for just for safety. The first one I don't go for. Looks like. I'm probably gonna get the second one though, because there's a section right after that that I can easily get my armor broken. Yes, I get that armor stack that's right there. Doesn't waste too much time. Because this section you can easily get your armor broken. They're like right there, I just got that armor broken. So it was a good thing that I got that armor stack. Very nice. Alright, so next is arguably one of the hardest levels in the game for NG+. We're going to be using the charger now. This level involves a lot of these platforms that start moving when you approach them. And so I'm going to be basically using the charger to try to ink a pathway so basically right here I inked a pathway, and then once I started moving towards that platform, it started running away. So because of that pathway, I was still able to get on that platform. I was able to get on that platform before it got away. So that's what this level revolves around, and those cycle skips are really hard to do because you can easily mess them up, and it loses a lot of time. another cycle skip I'm going to do right here. I'm going to go to the left. I'm going to get onto this platform when it lowers. And get onto this platform. That's called Senko skip because it was discovered by a Japanese IL runner called Senko. In here I'm basically going to be shooting all the switches on this cube. And then I get a key, ink that switch, and then get to that fish. That was a pretty good level. Next is level 25. This is almost just as hard as 24. This has a lot of platforming. This level I have some trouble trying to get through this section. It's actually pretty easy to get your armor broken there if you're not careful. And this section just has a lot of platforming. Just a lot of jumping from platform to platform. I have to precisely shoot this wall of enemies. This is also another cycle-based level. The cycle is kind of right here. That wall right there, that's moving. I believe I just made a pretty good cycle. There is a faster cycle that you can make, but it's pretty hard to get. And 138, not bad. Alright, and so that is the end of the Octavio list part. Because the only level left is the final boss, DJ Octavio. So that's kind of the end of the RNG part of this game. So now, like I said, the final boss is RNG based. But that has been taken into account. And so now the rest of this run is basically up to RNG. So that is kind of a shame, but like I said, there are different routes that you can take where you can do Octavio early. But for this route I'm taking, I do him last just for theatrical sake. So this is most likely the route I would do in a marathon or a race setting. We use the charger to snipe the glowing fist as soon as they appear, because that's the fastest way to fight the boss. But yeah, unfortunately there's not too much going on in this boss. Cinematically it's pretty cool, but again, since we're pretty OP because we have the fully upgraded charger, and we can just snipe Octavio when he falls off his machine. So not much danger. And I've played this boss probably hundreds of times. I guess while I have time, I'll just quickly explain how this boss works. So basically, sometimes he, as you can see, I'm shooting the fists that glow and not the fists that spin. Basically, once I hit 8 glowing fists, it ends the phase, and then Octavio falls out of his machine, and they have to hit him back. And so sometimes he can throw spinning fists at you, which you can't hit back, and he can throw bombs, or other types of attacks at you. So that's what makes this boss RNG-like. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up this boss. At least we don't have to waste time watching any of the cutscenes. We can just skip through all of them. Alright, so now this is the final phase where we get the Rainmaker. This part is pretty cool, because now we get to shoot the glowing fist with the Rainmaker. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on here. So I just have to place my shots right to shoot the glowing fist. This part is not very RNG, because he usually this section doesn't vary a lot, because he usually alternates with a glowing and a spinning fist. So this section is pretty straightforward. Doesn't vary a lot. At this point, I can usually tell what time I'm gonna get. So I would say this Octavio is not very good. There is a lot of I think the best Octavio I've ever gotten was a 423. And you can see already we're past that time. And so I think this is going to be like a 5.5 minute, maybe. So I think this, I really wanted to share this run because I think overall skill and execution wise, this run was pretty good. So that's why I wanted to share it, because I really think it shows off NG Plus very well. And the fact that I was still able to get this time, well, with a bad Octavio, I think really says something. So that's really why I wanted to share this run. Because this run is very close to 3rd place in the leaderboards, despite the bad RNG. So that's why I really wanted to share this run. And I think that says a lot about NG Plus. So yeah, I said like surprised one this one was not really that good. If I had gotten a really good Octavio, this could have been a 1 of 4, a low 1 of 5. And that's like, if I show the leaderboards right here, I'm currently on 3rd place with my PB. And as you can see, I got a 106.004 in that run. That was very close to 3rd place already. And if I gotten a better Octavio, I could have been close to 2nd place. So I think that really says something. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for this commentary run. If you've watched this far, thank you so much for doing so. I really hope you consider this run for GDQ. I would love to run this because this is a very popular category. It's very well loved. It's a lot of fun to run. Yeah, I promise if I'm accepted, I'll keep running this and hopefully become a better runner in the process. So thank you very much, and have a good one. Bye-bye.